The first $10 bill issued by the federal government featured a portrait of which former president? Was it Dwight Eisenhower, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, or Andrew Jackson? The first $10 bill issued by the federal government. Who was the featured portrait? These are hard, man. Straight guesses. Or somebody's like super student in their history class.
I just looked at money a lot,
Or looked at money, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Abraham Lincoln was the answer. Everybody got that wrong. Mm-hmm. All right. Did not know that.
Been guessing the whole time.
Next question. What vitamin can you get from direct sunlight? Is it vitamin B, vitamin D, vitamin C, or vitamin A? This is, I guess, one of the summer stuff questions. What vitamin can you get from direct sunlight? Got 5 answers so far.
We got so much time to answer between.
Yeah, I think we may have put too much time on here.
Yeah.
I didn't see how much time on here. Normally we do like 30 seconds. It's way too much time. But the thing, if you get it early, get more points. Yeah. So everybody got that one. Still want to answer it quickly. First $10 bill issued by the federal government was printed in what year? 1829, 1990, 1855, or 1861. So this is that, I guess, is that bill that had Abraham Lincoln. So what year was that bill printed? 1829, 1990, 1855, 1861. I know which year it's not. Sure.
This is a good question to get at that process of elimination. If you have any idea of time frames, good question for that.
It is 1861. All right, Xavier, still in the lead. Still anybody's game. If you just catch up, we got enough questions left. In less than 5 words, this is just a word cloud exercise we thought we'd do for fun. Tell us what you would do if somebody gave you $1 million on Monday. Just type your answer. You only got 30 seconds here. Just thought it'd be fun to kind of see what people would do. Somebody gave you $1 million on Monday. What would you do? Bank it, buy a home, house, vacation, save it in a bank, invest. All right, that's prompting us for a later discussion. All right, next question. Kuwait is located in which continent? Kuwait is located in which continent? Europe, Africa, South America, Asia? I have to ask Angelica, what was the inspiration for this one? But I like it. Asia. All right. Xavier's still in the lead. Which coin is this? This is a picture of a coin. Is it a wheat penny, a nickel, a quarter, or a dime? Everybody got that one. It is a dime. Xavier's giving you a run for your money, fellas in here. Harriet Tubman may soon be placed on which denomination of currency? Harriet Tubman, there's been some talk about her being placed on one of the currency notes. Is it the $5 bill, the $50 bill, $20 bill, or the $100 bill? Everybody remember that was the 20. Good job. True or false? A savings account is a deposit account that generally earns higher interest than an interest-bearing checking account. Is that true or false? So if you have a checking account versus a savings account, essentially, which one's going to earn more interest? There we go, savings account. Sydney, Miss Cherry came up. Storing money, transferring money, and lending money are examples of what? Are they functions of banks? Is it a loan? Is it characteristics of just money in general, or types of banks? I'm not sure where she was going on this one, but you're gonna have to guess where she was going. All right, functions of banks. Good job. Wow, this is a battle right here. And remember, it's 150 and 25. So for teens, you wanted to try to place. Money taken out of a bank account is called a what? Is it a deposit? Is it savings? Oh, withdrawal. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows what that withdrawal is. I love it. All right, there are two types of bank accounts. I think we kind of went over this. Context clues again. What are those bank accounts called? A lot of folks have these type of accounts. So is it a checking and debit? There we go, checking and savings. I was zooming and zooming. I think that's been a little slow. Final question. Checking accounts are used for storing money, long-term or short-term? Long-term or short-term? There we go. You're not storing money in those, you're using that money. I'm a kid today, it's coming up. My internet's been a little slow. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. Blank is a rate that banks pay customers for keeping their money. Is this a dividend? Is this a waiver? It's a mortgage or interest? Blank is a rate that banks pay their customers for holding on to their money. Six answers. Who's number 7? I may have fallen off. That may be why. There we go. Just a few more here, but the battle is still pretty strong. Next question. The month of July was named after which historical personality or figure? Joseph Prince, Justinian I, King Tut, or Julius Caesar? So the month of July was named after which historical personality? Julius Caesar. All right. Yeah, I would have guessed that too. Oh, wow. This is coming down to the wire. What year were ice pops invented according to our research? What year were ice pops invented according to our research? 1997? Probably not. 1905? 1776? 1805? What year were ice pops? 1905. All right. Wow. We are rock and roll. Here's another one just for fun. Argument that we were having in my car on the way to vacation here in Atlanta. Which singer is the best out of these 4? Wow, Beyonce, Whitney Houston. Nobody, no love for Jennifer Hudson. Really interesting. All right, last question. This is all the marbles. Double the points. Revere in Massachusetts is the oldest public beach in the United States. What year do you think it opened? 1865, 1966, 1776, or 1896? The oldest public beach in the United States. One last person to answer. 1896. Let's see who is our grand prize winner. Let's see who our $25 winner is. All right, Miss Cherry, $25 for you and the Amazon. Oh, that's right. Well, we can't give it to the double. We'll figure something out for you, Felton. So the $100 goes to Mrs. Xavier, and then we will do 50 for Miss Cherry, and then it looks like we've got Cassidy here that will get 25. So make sure I have your emails, put them in the chat to make sure I have the right email that you pay attention to, and we will get those cards to you no later than Monday. So I will hop off, turn my mic off, and drop the hosting festivities over to Mr. Felton. And this was a lot of fun, guys.
I just wanted to say it got a little personal, Xavier. You just would not let go of the lead. So, and I dropped the ball on the last question. It was clearly 1896 was a better answer, but I congratulate you on your victory, my man. Good job. Very good job.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
As a dominant wrestling fan, I have to say I've been taught to never apologize for any butt whoopings I lay out.
Felton gets the crown today because I guessed on a whole lot of questions today.
Miss Hensley, it was. Were you playing? Were you there? I didn't.
Oh my God!
Wow.
I didn't even know. It was just me and Xavier and the rest of the kids. Great job, everyone. Miss Hensley, I had no clue you were even playing. I'm sorry.
Oh, you wait till the year starts.
Great job, everyone. It seems as if you are ahead of the curve when it comes to what the topic today. Money talks, coins, cash, and all those good things. It talks, but do we listen? So we have someone here to impart some financial wisdom and some knowledge and abilities of how to navigate and how to do better with the money you get and gain. And as summer approaches, and it's already here, and opportunities come for you to make a little cash before school starts up all over again. Maybe you'll have some better ideas of how to manage it, what to do with it, what not to waste it on, what to spend it on, what makes it work for you instead of against you. So with all that being said, I'm going to let Miss Wesley introduce herself and give her, I'll say presentation, but it's however you want to go about it. Just tell us what you think we need to know and what we need to know about money. Miss Wesley, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. You make it sound so formal, Miss Wesley. But thank you guys for inviting me. Fun group, I can tell just from your energy and vibe. So a little bit about me. I'm a financial advisor. I run my practice under Northwestern Mutual. So I've got a team of folks that I work with. I'm originally from New Jersey. So I've been in North Carolina for about 2 years, relocated not that long ago. So real quick today, not going to dive in too deep, but I just want to share some just basic money principles with everyone. I know we've got a diverse group here. So I think these are foundational points can appeal to everyone, depending on where you are in your knowledge when it comes to just general financial management. So I know we just got off of a quiz. We're going to jump into another quick quiz. And this is just to kind of gauge your awareness around how you are managing your money. And if you're a little bit younger, that's completely fine too, because the sooner you start, the better you start these money management and good financial practices, the better your financial profile is going to start to look. So I don't need to share my screen. I got a quick quiz. So Meryl, if you want me to do a screen share, I can.
Yeah, I just gave you rights. You definitely can if you'd like.
Okay, cool. So I'll go ahead and pull it up then. Okay. All right. Let me know if you guys can see
students,
that.
don't hesitate to drop something in the chat if there's like a question or something that's kind of interesting as you're looking at the presentation and hearing the things that Ms. Wesley is going to be sharing with us today.
So we're just going to do a quick financial fitness check, right? Let's see where your knowledge sits as far as how you're managing your money. Give yourself 1 point for true, no points if the answer is false. So we're going to talk about budgeting, right? How aware are you with how much money is coming in and how much money is going out? You're clear on what that looks like. True or false? So if I ask you, okay, what do you have left over at the end of the day every month? You're gonna be like, I know I've got $2,000 in savings that I'm putting away every month. I've got $1,000. I've got $500. And then at the end, we're just going to do a quick tally and see where everybody's at. All right, number 2. If you became sick or injured, now this might appeal to some of the folks that are working or run their businesses, you know exactly how much money you're going to get in a benefit from your job or from your business. You've got a plan. So if something happens, if you, God forbid, got COVID, you know, okay, well, this is going to kick in to keep my salaries paid, the lights on, the rent going, or, you know, if I'm injured, I know that, okay, well, you know, I got this amount to supplement my income. So I don't have to worry about, you know, where we're going to get these extra funds while I'm going through this recovery. And for the younger folks, if you're not even working just yet, your health is still important. There are ways that your parents can lock in your health status so that you don't have to worry about having to look for insurances once you get older. So I guess you can give yourselves a true or false points if you know whether you've got that in place for you. Moving on to next. Emergencies. Things happen all the time, right? Our dogs, our pets get sick. We might, you know, have to do some engine work on the vehicle, or somebody needs to go to the emergency room. Now you've got this emergency room bill. You've got a bucket of money. You know that your emergency fund is there for the times that life throws us these curveballs, and I've got a place to access those funds in case that happens. True or false? So typically, rule of thumb is 3 to 6 months of living expenses is what you want to set aside for your emergency fund. Some people have kind of like a dollar amount, depending on like your lifestyle and where you are. It might just be like, hey, I need to have like $5,000 set aside because I know if I need money, it's probably the emergency is probably not going to cost me more than $5,000. So I'm good to have at least that set aside. Or if you're, you know, in a higher income bracket, maybe that number needs to be 10,000 or 20,000, just depending on, you know, your lifestyle. But most likely, most emergencies won't really cost you that much more. So we can kind of gauge what that looks like. Moving on. All right, so we have an end goal, right? We work, but ultimately we want to enjoy, you know, the fruits of our labor now, but we still want to make sure that we're planning for what, you know, is ahead. At some point, we want to stop working, whether it's age 50, 60, 70, whatever that goal is for you. Do you know how much you need to save for retirement? And it's, you know, if you're young, like who wants to think about that now? But you also don't want to be, you know, facing retirement like 5 years and you're like, oh my goodness, 65, I'm not going to have any more money coming in. How I'm going to be living hopefully for at least another 20, 30 years. I want to make sure that when I get there, I know I've got this pool of money coming in every month because I'm not going to be trying to be working when I'm like 65 or 70. So do you know how much you need? And do you know how you're tracking towards that number? Moving on, next, credit card debt. How much credit card debt do I have? How much do I pay in interest each month? Why is this important? Well, we all know that credit cards can come with very high interest rates, right? So we don't want to have our dollars tied up paying these high interest rates because that money could be going towards something else. So it's important to kind of have an eye on that. So that one's pretty straightforward. Let's move on. We're almost there. It's just about 3 more questions. I know the difference between term and permanent insurance. And these are just tools that you can use in your financial planning. But it's important to understand, you know, how they work and how it works for you, not just having it. Because I think sometimes when you're dealing with agents and things like that, they don't really go into the weeds of like, okay, well, this is how it's going to work for you in your life. Like, it's not just a matter of having amount of coverage, but what's that coverage for? And I think once people gain that understanding, then they're in a place where they know about how much insurance they need and how to also scale it up or scale it down based on those needs. Almost to the end. How are we doing out there?
I think if you guys are not being edified by what's taking place in front of you, you're missing out. This is some good information. I have stuff I want to say, so I definitely think the kids have some good observations.
Cool.
Anybody want to say something? Say it now, or she can finish up. But feel free to engage, kids.
We've got 2 more questions, and then I'm going to, open the floor to get some feedback from you guys on these different topics, and I want to hear how you scored. So speaking of score, I know my credit score. Why is that important? That comes down to buying power, right? So the higher your credit score, the better offers that you're going to get. So you're not going to be faced with getting, higher car payments because you don't qualify, because your credit score is on the lower end. So now you've got to pay more for this vehicle. And while it might seem maybe you can afford $400 a month, but if your credit score is better and you can get a car payment for $300, that $100 could be going towards something else. And last but not least, financial plan. I know what I want for my future, and I have a written financial plan outlining what it takes to make it happen. And for the younger folks that are in this group, these questions don't just apply to adults, right? Knowing what you want for your future is also key, right? Just having a plan, even if that plan's going to change, which most likely it will, because as we evolve, our plan should evolve with us. But it's important to just kind of write down what those goals are. And then you can back into those goals with plans and strategies on how to accomplish them. So that is the conclusion of that financial fitness. Would love to just kind of hear some thoughts and feedback, and tell me how you scored.
Anybody care to share their scores? Kelby Cassidy, I know your dad is a big financial guy. He's about having what we call financial literacy these days. So I would think you guys took right to this and probably were reminded of some things that he has already imparted to you. So did you guys, did anything resonate with you?
Talk to me a little bit about areas where you didn't get a score. How we feel about how we're saving and managing our money.
I feel pretty good about how I'm saving my money. He took like some money out to put into to invest into stocks. So yeah, I'm growing money in like 2 bank accounts since he put it into stocks.
That's great. I'm going to show you guys another quick slide. Since you brought up the fact that you are having some money into stocks. Can you guys see this? So the advantage of starting early, since we got some, I'm trying to move my controls here. Can you guys see that okay?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, so the advantage of starting early, right? So you said your dad's got some money he's invested for you. So this is just an example of like, we hear a lot, like, I want to be a millionaire, but, by the time I, retire or whatever. So this just shows you the advantage of compound interest working in your favor. So if you're starting at 25 and you've got a head start on that, and we're going to use the example of a rate of return of 7%, which is very conservative. The average return of the stock market is between like 10 to 11%. So giving $381 a month, but starting at age 25, by the time you reach 65, you would have accumulated $1 million. So this yellow here is your growth. The blue is what you've contributed. So this is age 25, 35, 45, and 65. So the way compounding interest works, your money kind of grows like a snowball, it builds up over time. So starting those habits early and getting in the habit of saving. And when I say saving is like that capacity of money that you have after your expenses have been paid. You've got your income coming in, your expenses have been paid, and then you've got this bucket of money left over. And then it's like, what do I do with that, right? So yeah, you're gonna have your fun money. But you also want to make sure you're putting some money aside to work for you for now, for midterm goals, and for future goals. And this is one assignment or job description you can give to your dollars. We call them job descriptions because we want to give your money a job to do. Because if they don't have a job description, they're just going to do whatever comes your way. So they're going to be buying shoes, games, clothes. So you want to just, if you got $100, $50, $30, $20, just get in the habit of saving and saying this money is going towards, if you're studying for a particular program, this money is going towards my books or the certification that I need for that course. That's the job description that it has. And once you get into a place where you're earning money for yourselves, then you can assign those dollars to goals like investing, saving for a home, locking in your insurability. I'll talk about that really quick. So what does that mean? As African-American community, we have to start kind of changing how we think our money aura about it, right? We talk a lot about generational wealth. And something that and I hate to generalize, but just, in general, what we have not been taught is how to protect our children's health when they're young and healthy, not just getting insurance for ourselves, but getting insurance for our children, because that's when they're the healthiest, that's when it's the cheapest, and they don't have to worry about that when they get into adulthood. And so we start building up. So when that person passes, we don't have GoFundMes. GoFundMe is for a last resort. Sometimes you just have to. But now we're conditioned that people are resting in power. We're passing on this tax-free wealth, and that helps to bridge that racial wealth gap. And very, very cost effective to do it. So I know I've been talking about, and that was just after one question from the webinar. So I'm going to be quiet.
You're good. You're going to be talking some more. That's something I wanted you to unpack. I always am a fan of when people remind young people that how inexpensive life insurance is when you're a child and how that price does not change. The older you get, the more expensive life insurance gets. As she just mentioned, you're not as healthy, you don't have as much time left, and all of the things they want to charge you for are going to be charged. But when you're a kid, a baby, and you get insurance, if your parents get your insurance as a child, the rate stays the same as long as you keep the policy active. It's an inexpensive investment, and it's one of the earliest and easiest you can make. I wanted you to unpack a little further also, if you can, the importance of being patient with money. The chart you put up was all about the growth that occurs over a vast amount of your lifetime. A lot of us are guilty, especially in our teenage years and 20s, of not seeing beyond the tip of our noses. We're just in the moment. Hey, I'll do it again later, or I'll make up for it at some other time. How important is it to just decide that as long as you have some income coming in, this portion goes to this place to wait for me?
It's very important. And just going back to creating those habits, like changing our whole behavioral economics, right? Instilling the habit of saving. It's not just, it's still investing. You're just putting that money somewhere, and you know that this is working for you. So when we look at those dollars and you give them a job to do, and you know that, okay, just set it on autopilot, set that savings goal, and you know, like, okay, this is there, this is what that's doing. And then now it's not at the forefront, right? So you can focus on other things because you know that this particular bucket is doing its job. So when you talk about patience, I think what happens is the challenge of liquidity, right? Like having a need to access cash. And that's where the impatience comes in, because it's like, if you're running into a shortage of your cash flow, then you're looking for places to go and get that money. But if you're managing your dollars and you know that you have these needs addressed, you won't be tempted to go and pull from that. So you won't have the challenge of like not being able to wait. If that, helps to address
No.
that question.
That's perfect because it connects to an earlier comment you made. It directly connects to it, and it's something I've always put a strong emphasis on. Even when I was you guys' age, I had a dollar amount that I had to be able to access no matter what, and that meant for that emergency. I didn't have a pet at the time, so I wasn't not for surgeries of any kind, but just for that emergency fund, that strong desire and want. I played video games, so when one came out, I didn't have to ask anybody or go find some way of making some money. I had this little reserve, and I think when I was around you guys' age, it was like $200. I had to have access to $200 at any given time, and then it became 500, and then it became 1,000. As you get older, it should become more because things change and you have more responsibilities, or you have to get that car fixed to get to work or what have you. But you should have a dollar amount in mind. That is, I have to be able to put my hands on this amount of money if I need to, not because you want to, but because you need to. It needs to always be there for the need. Something else I wanted to really go into, which I think is critically important for Black Americans, is understanding credit. Can you talk about how you can have bad credit because you don't do anything with your credit? Can you talk about building credit? How it is a functioning thing. It cannot just sit and say, I've never charged anything, so I'm good. No, you don't have any credit. They don't know to trust you. So can you talk about building credit?
Sure. So some key things, right, when it comes to understanding buying power is having a better credit score, right? So the creditors want to know that you're going to be someone that is going to pay them back, right? So it's just important to make sure that you establish this good payment history. And as your payment history, as you prove and show that you are going to be someone that's going to keep paying your bills back, your credit limit's going to increase. The other side of that is understanding, like when you are giving credit, say you're giving $1,000, right? They're also going to be looking like, well, how much do you need? And it sounds a little bit crazy. Like, of course, if you give me $1,000, I want to use the whole $1,000. But that also works against you, right? They don't want you to use the whole thing because you use the whole 1,000. Now it's like you maxed out your credit. Now like you have a great need. So chances are you're not going to have a good credit score. We may not lend you more money because that's just kind of how it's perceived. So rule of thumb is like you want to use 30% of the crown of credit that you're given or less. Anything over 30%, you start to kind of see a negative, impact to your credit score. So keep that utilization under 30%. And if you can keep it under 10%, even greater. And then you want to keep that history going because that's also going to help the creditor see like, okay, well, you have a good history of making payments and you're not using everything because you're not in a situation where you have a dire need. Because people that are in a dire need tend to make bad decisions. So that's why they look at like, how much are you using and what's your history behind paying it? And just coming back to, the concept of like making sure your dollars have good job descriptions. You want to be able to make that money work to you to the best of its advantage, not paying high interest rate because you didn't get a good credit rating.
So this would be a question for you guys. I see you're somewhat limited in your interaction. Mr. Merrill asked if anyone who has a job, and that was primarily for the teens who are here. I'll say this one out loud, and since Xavier was there to unmute himself to talk a little junk for taking my crown today, I'm going to ask you: do you ever pay attention, Xavier, when you see a commercial or something that's selling a expensive item, whether it's a car, furniture, houses, anything that's a little bit above and beyond, and they actually finance too much stuff these days. You can finance a $10 comb or something. It's crazy. But do you ever see where it says a percentage rate, and what does that mean to you?
Actually, yes, I do. Also on the job thing, I am working. I did apply for the job at the YMCA, and I'm in the process of starting there. So I forgot to say that earlier, but with the whole looking at commercials and stuff, I do pay attention to it, and the whole having reserved money. I try to do that as well. And then whenever I go to the store and I see prices and I'm like, whoa, that's expensive. And my mom's just like, yeah, exactly. You guys are expensive. And I'm like, well, that's not my fault. And then I look at like the commercials and stuff and it's like, wow. Like, and then looking at cars and they have like the APR. My brother-in-law works in a car dealership. So I asked him about it. And that in itself is a whole complicated thing. And it all just sounds like a big scam from looking from the outside in. So, I mean, when looking at prices and working with your bank and car dealerships and all this other stuff, it's better to save for a very long time and get something that's usable for a little bit before you go and get something that you really, 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 really want. So like, instead of getting the newest car, maybe you could get one that's like 10 years younger and, 10 years older, my bad, and use that while you can.
How about this? This is the trick, Xavier and Miss Wesley. I will definitely defer to you if I say something out of step. Please correct me. This is the trick. What if I told you you could get a brand new car that's may not have, or maybe just a few thousand miles on it, a pretty much new car, preferred quality on whatever car, for the same price? You may get that used one that's not in as good a shape if your credit's good. How about that percentage that you see is basically telling you what you can get percentage wise if your credit's good. Now, most people don't take the time, most people that we may know don't take the time to actually build their credit, to work with their credit. You can save all you want, right? But if they don't know that you're functioning in a world of purchasing stuff and paying it off, you'll never get that 0%. That's the number I always look for. When you see rooms to go say 0% for 6 months to a year, you're paying the same as cash. You're paying the same you would pay, but it's less on you at the moment. You don't have to come all the way out of pocket. You can break it down to monthly payments, but you don't pay any interest. Those are the ways that we get tricked up, though. We think something's not right, and then they tell you don't quite qualify for it. Hey, not that time, but work on it. Work towards it, and you'll get there. And you'll be fine. It's a lot more to it, and I'll digress to Miss Wesley. But I also wanted to acknowledge Miss Hensley. She said she had a question in the statement. Could we do a little double duty, Miss Wesley, really quickly?
Sure.
So, okay, Miss Hensley, go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, I've heard I now have a 16-year-old, my oldest. I have heard that as a parent, you can add your teen to your credit to start establishing credit for them before they turn 18. Is that correct?
I will be honest. I would probably have to defer to a credit expert. I have heard people doing that, but I don't know details with when it comes to that. I that's something I can get back to you on.
It's a comment that I can make that it may resonate with you, Miss Wesley.
And I have a related question too after that too.
Yeah, I know that you can get a credit card and have it a co-signature with your team.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I remember hearing this rich guy tell the story about how he would not give his kids cash. He would give them a credit card that he co-signed, and he paid the bill every month. What was that doing? Xavier, what was that doing for them? Building their credit. It's a game of trust, and it's as tricked up as the financial system in this country can be. If you establish your credit and they run the numbers, they have to give you that prime rate. And that's what that man was doing for his children. So you can do some stuff that's similar. I'm not saying it's specific to what your question is, but you can definitely put them in on stuff and help them out. Go ahead, Meryl.
Yeah, well, it was kind of related. I don't want to go too down the credit rabbit hole a little bit, because I know Ms. Wesley said she wanted to defer to some questions to like a credit expert. But when you mentioned a little bit about, and I think Felton even said something about accessing credit. So like if you have like little utilization, so Xavier's going to be like a perfect example of this, because going to college, right? When you go to college, like that's when the credit card folks come at you and they say, hey, you want this credit card? And I think there's probably some benefit to it if you do it correctly. Like the thing you were saying, Felton, like if you use the credit card and you like to have that 30% usability to kind of like show that you're, you know, using it, paying it back. It's just that people have to teach you what to do
Right.
if you want to try to establish credit. So I guess it's more a statement than anything, or if you guys just think it's just like is it a good strategy for students who are getting ready to go to school and get bombarded with these credit card offers, like, you know, Mr. Peel, you know, what should they be thinking about? And then all the other teens, you know, it's going to be coming up for you too when you walk on the college campus. It's coming. So you just need to be prepared, because a lot of folks get messed up because they end up taking 4 or 5 credit cards and they use it for pizza and, you know, stupid stuff, and then, you know, you already got debt that's sitting on top of you if you weren't blessed enough to be able to have some free money to be able to go to school. So just kind of unformed thought question.
No, that's absolutely. That's why we're here, man. Exactly why we're here. So you guys have any other questions? That's what we're here to try to engage with, and definitely take advantage of Miss Wesley's time. I want you guys to completely understand also, this conversation is not just here. If this sparks something that you think about later, have that conversation, because as Meryl said, the world is coming. The real world is coming. It's very exploitative. It takes advantage. And if you don't know and you think, oh, wow, so I qualify for this, because you'll see pre-qualified on everything you get. And yeah, they'll say, oh, well, you don't quite qualify for that 10,000 that we sent you. Oh, no, sorry, but we'll give you 5. And you'll say, okay, you got 5. And you go and max it out. And then you don't have the money to pay it back. Now your credit's not just bad, you got to work away from that. So it's a lot credit is very, very important. It's a very important part of any financial conversations. And it's only because we're susceptible to exploitative practices in it. We're very susceptible because you are a people of need, because historically we're underserved and underrepresented, and all of those things that we know we have to address. So this is a place where we're trying to be informative. And not to keep stepping on my tongue, Miss Wesley, what do you have to say about this whole thing?
I think just with credit in general, it's really important to understand how it works. There are a lot of apps out there. You can get your free credit report every year. You can order it through Annual Report, I think annualcreditreport.com, or just Google free credit report and it'll show you. But just also be conscious and aware that, as crazy as it may seem, like Credit Karma, just watch out for the credit card advertisements within these credit management vehicles. So
I have to say that's
crazy.
Look, it's very important. Those are predatory also. If you have an account with I think it's bank, I don't like Bank of America, but I know Capital One does it. I know Discover does it. Whenever you start your first line of credit, check to see if they give you free credit scores. They do it. And that's an institution. That's the place that you want to be involved in getting your credit score from. Do not get caught up on Credit Karma and somebody telling you something that's not true and then taking all your information and you don't know who got it after that. So
yeah, so CreditWise is a great app. I think is associated with Capital One, that will show you, so you can get a better understanding, just the way that the credit's rating, like how many inquiries, right? How many times do you apply for credit? That works against you too. So you want to kind of manage that. Certain things don't count as many inquiries, like if you're shopping for a home or shopping for a car within a certain time period. So CreditWise, I think, has a great tool to show you, like how those different areas are measured. But the more you understand how that is rated, the more you're in power and have knowledge of what your buying power is. So you go into the car dealership, or let's back up a little bit. You go to get that new iPhone. Like, you already know, like, you're not going in like, am I going to qualify? Like, based on what I know about me, I know I'm going to qualify. I'm going to get this free iPhone. I'm not paying X, X, and X for this because I already know where I stand. So just, take some time to educate yourself about how all of that works.
Critically important, and I'm loving this conversation, to shop with confidence, to be able to make major purchases with confidence. I have actually sold cars, I've actually bought cars, and there is a profiling that takes place. There is a prejudice of generally Black Americans or Black people go to search for a house, car, what have you, major purchases. And the person doing the selling, I've been in the car dealership and people will look and see it's a Black person out there and they're just like, whatever. Sad but true. You go out there and you talk to them, and it ends up sometimes being you're putting somebody in something they can't afford, and you know it. As a salesman, some people don't, and I'm actually giving away a little bit too much information. Probably some people don't care. That's how they make their living. As someone who didn't necessarily gravitate to sticking in that life, as you can see, I was like, this is bad. But then I would run into that Black person who would get that maltreatment and be like, okay. And then you run their credit and you sitting there with them and they're like, see, that person over there thought that's why I came over here and talked to you, because they wasn't acting right. So you have, this preconceived notion of people just in perpetual struggle, and it's often associated with finances when it comes to Black people. Be responsible, have that confidence. Like, you can get this. And if they treat you any kind of way, it's their loss.
And the confidence comes from going back to the foundation of your plan. That very first thing is the budget. You know how much you have set aside to pay for this car. So you go into the dealer. They're not telling you what you're going to do. You're telling them, like, this is what, or right? You got your cards. You know what you're going to do. I was like, well, I'm not going over $400 a month. And I know what I qualify for. So it's just going back to just having that foundation. The more you know about how your money is working for you, the better position you are going to be to negotiate in any situation. Phone, car, home. Another key thing, I don't know how much time we have, but that we don't have conversations around is protecting your income. That is the gas to the car. That is the seatbelt when you put your vehicle on. I mean, these are the things that fuel our entire life, right? Our ability to earn money. We don't have enough conversations around income protection, AKA disability insurance. We all know at some point we're going to die. So life insurance is kind of like a no-brainer. Yeah, we don't want to leave our family in this situation where they have all these expenses. But at the same time, if you're working, you want to make sure that your personal ATM is protected, right? So most companies probably offer about 60% group disability insurance. If we all know somebody that's maybe got into a car accident, they had to go through physical therapy for X amount of time. So they're only going to be getting half of their income if they have that benefit through their employer. What's happening with the other half? These are things that affect us that we don't see, we get sidelined by, but we're not educated on, okay, there's something I can do. I can take 1 to 2% of my income and put a warranty around my personal ATM. So if this does happen, at least I know that, I can make up that gap. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's been.
I think we could.
No, go ahead, man.
Well, I was gonna say what I'm thinking about, and we're coming up on time. We have been thinking a little bit about how we are going to reconvene in the next school year. And one of the things, and maybe I'll let Felton talk a little bit more about it, and Ms. Hensley, the COVID, created this space where we kind of had to go to this virtual space, and we're able to bring in people who were outside of Rockingham County, and we still want to be able to honor that and kind of have those connections, but we also want to be able to include the adults and parents of the students that's been joining us virtually when we start reconvening, in some type of hybrid model. And Felton, you might want to talk a little bit about the opportunity if we're able to put together something in October, where maybe we could have like a 2-track type of student focused leadership and the things that we do with NC Leap and our conversations, Ms. Hensley, with junior advocates, and then like some really tracked conversations with our adult parents and loved ones that really need to be thinking about some of these deeper, the income model, the retirement, all those things, and really make the most out of a weekend experience or something. So
yes, I'll say this is definitely a baby that hasn't been spanked to start crying yet, but we have a tentative date. So that's the first important thing, is people knowing that something may be on their calendar. And I think we're settling in on October 2nd. We're looking at some collaboration. This is it's nonsensical for everybody to try to operate in their own little silos and be talking about the same stuff or something similar when we can all come together at points. Doesn't mean you have to always be aligned, but at points you can come together, have these broader conversations, networking. How critically important have we talked about that being to the youth on the line? So we can create this space and place to just be out, maybe a 2 or 3 day retreat. Probably not in the vein of having to stay. We would be, I think, in Colfax, or that area in Colfax. So it could be that you just come up for a couple of hours and go back home and what have you. So we'll like to have all that flexibility, but there'll be another entity there also. I think it's Black People Camp too. So it's kind of outdoorsy stuff. Sit around the campfire, what I like to call the first TV, and sit there and have some conversations because nothing's playing on that TV. I will definitely be following up with the people that are involved in this taking place, and Meryl and I put out some information as we go along. But for right now, those listening and those that watch the replay, put a pin in the weekend of October 2nd, and hopefully everything falls into place and we're able to definitely circle that and just get together and talk and bring the youth, bring the parents. We can go in one place and another space and separate, come back together, and we can have some topics of conversations. I'm here for it. I hope you guys are. I wanted to say, Ms. Wesley, your last comments, critically important when you are employed. Your employer, I used to work in manufacturing, you might lose a finger. Your employer will pay you a value of which digits you lose based on the importance of it. If it's your thumb, it's the most expensive, right? But there's a cap on that. And if, as Ms. Wesley is stating, you don't have the proper insurance for the time it's going to take you to be out for your thumb to heal, hey, you got $10,000 for this thumb, but you're only getting 40 or 30 or 50% of your salary. At some point, something's not going to add up. So you have to understand that there are things in place that you can better exploit and explore. So thank you so much for your time as well. If you want to say something about my thumb analogy, please do. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time and your knowledge. And Meryl, you got a couple things you want to say?
I know. I want to just echo that appreciation if you jumping on and joining us today. Ruby, I really appreciate it. And I know we've talked a little bit about, trying to create other spaces to have these conversations with other folks that are impacted by the work we're doing at NC 100. And so I'm hoping that we can continue to, maybe if we could put together some other events, either virtually or in person as things open up and we can convene safely. Yeah, it's just super appreciate it. Appreciate all you guys being here today. And I know we lost a couple folks as we ran up at 12 o'clock, but we'll appreciate our young folks who joined us, and Tango and Chelsea, thanks for jumping on. If you guys have anything you can share, I don't know if there's something you want to say, Ms. Hensley, before we get out of here. And of course, Ms. Wesley, if you have something else you want to say, you can too. We're right around time.
I'll just throw my information in the chat.
Thank you.
If you've already done planning, if you've never done planning, we do a free diagnostic. Get it done. At least it'll show you some areas where you need to focus on. But thank you guys. This has been fun. I look forward to being invited again and maybe bringing some team members.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. Yeah, we're trying to, we're getting all our ducks in a row about with the non-pandemic version of LEAP and some of the other things that we do look like. I'm sure there'll be some type of hybrid model, but we're looking forward to moving on, seeing what 2021 brings and how the rest of our program unfolds.
Yeah, I definitely welcome that also. These conversations need to be had, and they need to be had with people that are reflective of the community we work in. Representation matters. So it's very nice to see that you're about this type of business, and I look forward to getting you back in the space again. And October 2nd, circle it if you're close enough to feel like you can make a trip up. We'll once we create an agenda, hey, come and talk to them. I look forward to it. All right, everybody good?
Yeah,
enjoy the rest. I'm sorry. Oh,
I
you
was
got something?
asking Adrian if she had anything. And we didn't have any of our folks with junior advocates join today, but I didn't know if you had anything, Adrian.
No, I just wanted to kind of echo, thank you, Miss Wesley. That was informative for me as well. And it's always going to be informative. Money, and credit forever till we die and after. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the mild weather and safe travels. Take care.
Peace.
Peace.